jai. Om Nishpatam Sabragatacharya Stotram Stotram Shri Shami Prabhupada ki jai. Anurvadi Vaishnavam ki jai. Namachasya Vidasta ki jai. Prince Krishna Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Radha Shri Gaura Bhakti ki jai. Shri Shiva Krishna Guru Shanti Prabhu ki Govardhan ki jai. Vrindavan ki jai. Nurvi Ram ki jai. Mai Pudam ki jai. Ganumai ki jai. Ganumai ki jai. Bhakti Devi ki jai. Krishna ki jai. Shri Krishna Balaram ki jai. Nitai Gokumanande. Bhakti Devi Samadhi Hopeless is some of the bodies, hopeless is some of the bodies, hopeless of the Shikran Shikran of Hare Krishna. The topic that we're going to focus on is Lord Balaram as the personification of constant servitude. Let us repeat. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So why do we celebrate these festivals of the appearance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, in his song, he says, Madhava Titi Bhakti Janani Jetane Palana Kori. With great care, I observe holy days like Ekadasi and Janmashtami, for they are mother of devotion. They are the mother of devotion. So by honoring, by celebrating these days, they inspire, they give birth to devotion in our heart. So therefore they are very, very important in a devotee's life. We should honor these festivals very nicely, glorifying that personality, in this case, glorifying Lord Balaram, hearing about Lord Balaram's qualities and pastimes, and in this way invoking the mercy of Lord Balaram. In the Mundaka Upanishad 3.2.4 it is said, Nayam Atma Bala Hinena Labhyo. One cannot attain the goal of life without the mercy of Balaram. So Balaram's mercy is necessary. Without his mercy, one cannot progress in spiritual life. And Balaram makes himself accessible in many ways, so that we can receive his mercy. Srila Prabhupada writes, Lord Balaram is the original Vishnu. Therefore, anyone remembering these pastimes of Lord Balaram in the morning and evening will certainly become a great devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and thus his life will become successful in all respects. So this is the real success formula. Everything else outside this formula will not give you true success. It may give you temporary success, but this is the true success formula. Simply hearing the glories of the Supreme Lord day and night, morning and evening. So let us repeat this wonderful prayer, glorifying Lord Balaram. Namaste Haladrik Grama. Namaste Musalayuda. Namaste Revatikanta. Namaste Bhaktavatsala. Namaste Balinam Shreshta. Namaste Dharanidhara.
Namaste Dharanidhara.
Pralambare namastestu.
Pralambare namastestu.
Trahimam Krishna Purvaja.
Trahimam Krishna Purvaja.
Please repeat. O Haladhara,
O Haladhara,
who carries a plough.
who carries the flower.
O you who hold a club.
O you who hold the club.
O husband of Revati.
O husband of Revati.
O you who are affectionate to your devotees. O you who are the strongest of the strong. O you who are the support of the earth in the form of an Antashesh. O you who destroy the demon Pralamba. O elder brother of Krishna, I offer my obeisances unto you. Please protect me. So we'll read a few verses from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. And in these verses, we will hear the key aspect, the most essential aspect or quality that Lord Balaram personifies, and that is the attitude of service. Without the attitude of service, we cannot enter into the spiritual world. Srila Prabhupada, in many of his purports, writes that the service attitude is what allows us to enter into the spiritual world. The material world is the world of exploitation, and the spiritual world is the world of service. So Balaram is the source of that servitude attitude. So if we want to increase, intensify, strengthen our service attitude, we pray to Lord Balaram. Pita Mata Guru Sakha Bhave Kenanaya Krishna Premara Swabhave Dasya Bhava Se Karyam. All the emotions, whether those of father, mother, teacher or friend, are full of sentiments of servitude. That is the nature of Krishna, love of Krishna. Eka Krishna Sarva Sevya Jagata Ishvara Arayata Sabha Tandra Sevankaran Ka Seva Kanu Chara. Lord Krishna, the one master and the Lord of the universe, is worthy of being served by everyone. Indeed, everyone is but a servant of his servants. Say Krishna Avatirna Chaitanya Ishvara Ateva Arasabha Tanhara Kinkara. That same Lord Krishna has descended as Lord Chaitanya, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Everyone, therefore, is his servant. Keha mane kehana mane sabatan radasha yena mane tarahaya se papenasha. Some accept him, whereas others do not. Yet everyone is his servant. One who does not accept him, however, will be ruined by his sinful activities. Chaitanya Radasa Muni, Chaitanya Radasa, Chaitanya Radasa Muni, Tandra Dase Radasa. I am the servant of Lord Chaitanya, a servant of Lord Chaitanya, a servant of Lord Chaitanya, and a servant of his servants. Saying this, Advaita Prabhu dances and loudly sings. Then at the next moment, he quietly sits down. Bhakta Abhimana Mula Shri Balarame Sebhave Anugata Tandra Amsagane. The source of the sentiment of servitude is indeed Lord Balaram. The plenary expansions who follow him are all influenced by that ecstasy. So here we are hearing that point that Balaram is the source of all service, the source of that service attitude. And all the expansions that come from Lord Balaram, they are all influenced not by that service attitude, but in this verse very nicely, by that ecstasy. So if we want to be happy, if we want to be in ecstasy, all we have to do is serve. Most people are striving for happiness, but happiness on its own does not exist. Happiness is a byproduct of service to the Supreme Lord. So if we strive to serve the Supreme Lord, automatically ecstasy, happiness is already there as a byproduct. So Lord Krishna, he is Savior Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He's the one that is served. And Balaram, he is not different from Krishna. He's the first expansion of Krishna, not different. He's Sevaka Bhagavan. He's the Supreme Personality of Servitude Godhead. And Prabhupada in a morning walk says, yes, both of them God. But one God is worshipable and another God is worshipper. So, the Supreme Person of Godhead, Krishna, he's worshipable. Everyone worships him. And Balaram is the worshipper. Balaram is the first and foremost servant, the Adi Guru, the primal teacher, how to serve Krishna the best. So all servants of Sri Krishna, they are unlimited servants, all different expansions, all different categories of expansions. Even the jivas, the living entities, are all expansions of Balaram. The first, Krishna expands himself in two categories called Prakash, in two initial forms of, identical forms of him. So the first one is identical forms of Krishna that is exactly a duplicate of Krishna, an expansion of Krishna, same form, same mood, same qualities as Krishna, non-different. And the second is Vaibhava Prakash, where there's a difference in some quality or in terms of color. So the first Prakash, in that form, for example, Krishna in the Rasa Leela. Krishna is there in the center with Srimati Radharani in the Rasa Leela, and Krishna expands himself as identical forms and dances with each of the gopis. So these are identical forms of Krishna, non-different. But Vaibhava Prakash, the second form, is Krishna himself, but with a little difference, either with a color or with mood. So Balaram is Vaibhava Prakash. He's the first expansion in this category. And it's described that the only difference between Krishna and Balaram is the color and the mood. Lord Krishna is blackish, bluish, sham in color. And Balaram, he is whitish in color. And Krishna, he accepts service, and Balaram gives service. So Krishna takes, and Balaram gives. It's interesting. You'll find Lord Nityananda, who's also an expansion of Balaram. He comes to this world and exhibits the same attitude of service to Lord Chaitanya. But he's also in the mood of giving, mercy. So Balaram teaches us how to get Krishna's mercy through the attitude of service. Prabhupada in the 10th canto says, if we develop Krishna consciousness of this fact, then we are in actual Krishna consciousness. We should always remember that Krishna is the only supreme master and that everyone else is his servant. Ekala Ishwara Krishna Ara Sabha Bhratya. Krishna is the only supreme master, only supreme personality of Godhead, and everyone, including all the expansions, incarnations, expansions, they all servants of Krishna. So to be a servant is the most exalted position and therefore a privilege. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Baladev, Lakshman, Advaita Acharya, Lord Nityananda, Lord Shesha, and Lord Shankarsan taste the nectarian mallows of the transcendental bliss of Lord Krishna by recognizing themselves as being his devotees and servants. They are all mad with that happiness and they know nothing else. So to be a servant, to be a devotee of Krishna, that is a very special position. From the aspect of happiness, it's exalted and special. And even from the attitude that Krishna appreciates, it is the best. It is described that Krishna, even though he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he's Bhoktaram Yagyata Pasam, Sarvaloka Maheshwaram, he's the Supreme Enjoyer. But as the supreme enjoyer, he feels deprived. Why? Because in the spiritual world, the servants of Krishna, they enjoy 10 million times more pleasure than Krishna. So even though he's meant to be the supreme enjoyer, he feels this is unfair. My servants get more pleasure than me. And therefore even Krishna himself desires to be a servant. But if Krishna wants to be his servant, he has got a problem. And what is the problem? That if he becomes a servant, who is he going to serve? Because now he's a servant and there's no Krishna left. See? So he's got a problem. And Srimati Radha was assisting in solving that problem. They combine and they become Lord Chaitanya. So Krishna still stays as Krishna, but now in the form of Lord Chaitanya, he's able to serve himself. And in this way, experience what the devotees are experiencing. And see, Krishna had a choice. Okay, I need to become a devotee. So, which devotee should I become? So therefore Krishna is wise. Okay, let me become the best devotee. Therefore he becomes, he takes the mood, the heart of Srimati Radharani, the greatest devotee. And in this way, Lord Chaitanya is able to relish the exchange between Radha and Krishna. So Lord Balarama, throughout his pastimes, he reveals the service attitude. And this is one of my favorite pastimes, where Lord Balarama reveals to us, tries to convince us through his own pastime, that let Krishna keep his position. We safe be the servants of Krishna. So it was after Govardhan Leela, Krishna lifted Govardhan hill, and few months after Govardhan Leela, Krishna had killed quite a few demons. And Balaram, as the elder brother, he felt, Krishna is killing demons and I'm not doing any service. So in this brotherly love, he felt, I need to do some service for Krishna. And he thought, okay, maybe I should become Krishna for one day. So he asked Krishna, he went to Krishna and says, Krishna, please give me your peacock feather and flute. I'll be you for one day. So that if a demon comes, then at least I'll be able to sort him out. So Krishna said, no problem. So Krishna gave him his flute and peacock feather, and off Balaram went. In the meantime, in Mathura, Kamsa summoned Keshi. And he called Keshi and he told Keshi, I want you to go to Vrindavan and kill Krishna. So Keshi said, how do I recognize Krishna? And Kamsa said, very simple. Just find anyone who's got a flute and a peacock feather. Then you know that is Krishna. So immediately Keshi went to Vrindavan, and there was Balaram in Vrindavan. And Keshi immediately came and he saw, oh, there's the flute and there's the peacock feather. There's Krishna. So all of a sudden, Keshi went and attacked Balaram, hit him right in the chest. Balaram flew so far away from Keshi's sight, tumbled. And because he got hit on the chest, practically he choked, couldn't breathe, fell to the ground in pain. And because he fell so far, Keshi thought he finished Krishna. So then Keshi left. In the meantime, Balaram, trying to get hold of his breath, in pain, thought, wow, what was that? I thought I'll just be, Krishna for one day, and I got beaten like this. So he came back to Krishna, took his peacock feather, took his flute and said, Krishna, I don't think it's a good idea to be you. Because you get beaten. So then afterwards, Krishna, he told Balaram, okay, you take rest, let me go. And then Krishna goes and then he kills Keshi. So here we find how Balaram himself, through his pastimes, reveal, let Krishna be Krishna. And we should simply be servants. It's a beautiful statement. disguised as birds, the great demigods, would regularly eat the remnants of Krishna and Balaram's meals. This is a great wonder. So the demigods, they come as birds and they would eat Krishna and Balaram's remnants because they know who Krishna and Balaram are. And that's the wonder. And now for us, the wonder is that even though we hear Krishna and Balaram, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, we still want to take their position. That's the wonder for us. That how illusion can we be, just like we know Prabhupada often say, the last snare of Maya is for people to think they're God. So how can one even consider to be God if they cannot even control their bowel movements? And they think they're in control. We're not in control. We are completely dependent on Krishna's energies. So Balaram, he appeared during the Swati Nakshatra, which is the 15th, or is one of the 15th nakshatras of the zodiac. And this auspicious nakshatra looks like a pearl. So the Lord appeared during this nakshatra, also called Rohini nakshatra. And what's special about this constellation is that only during this constellation, when the rain falls during this constellation, and it falls into the ocean, and that water, that raindrop goes into an oyster, then it becomes a pearl. So this is how pearls are formed during this constellation. If this raindrops fall on the hood of a serpent, then that raindrop, very potent, very powerful, drops on the hood of a serpent and becomes that raindrop transforms into a jewel. That's how you get jewel-headed serpents. And another wonderful aspect of this constellation is in regards to a chataka bird. That's a picture of a chataka bird, quoted throughout the Vedas. Many devotees in their songs, in glorification, in their prayers, they talk about this chatak bird. And this chatak bird is very unique, very special. Even though this constellation doesn't appear throughout the year, this chatak bird will only drink the water from the monsoon clouds during this constellation. And it will wait and hanker whole year only for this water from this rain cloud. Even though there may be water all over, it's not interested in water from anywhere else but from this special rain cloud. So the Vedas glorify this chatak bird like a devotee. That a devotee also, he's not interested in glorifying anything and anyone. He's only interested in receiving the mercy of Krishna and glorifying Krishna. Even though there may be many things to glorify, but he's only focused on this dark monsoon cloud personality Krishna. And even though the clouds the other clouds or even the monsoon cloud may administer thunder or lightning, still the chatak bird is not chased. The chatak bird is diligently waiting for the raindrops from this cloud. So we want to be like the chatak bird, always greedy, always waiting for Krishna's mercy. Lord Balaram appeared during this constellation, and it's described just as Krishna appears, or Krishna's eternal mother is Mother Yashoda. Sham Sundar Krishna, his eternal mother is Yashodananda. Similarly, Balaram, he is Rohini Nanda. He is eternally the dear darling son of Rohini. And both Krishna and Balaram, they only appear in Vrindavan, nowhere else. So we know Krishna appears to Mother Yashoda, and it's described that even Balaram appeared in the womb of Mother Rohini. And in Mathura, in the Kamsa cell, during Krishna Leela, we know that it was Krishna's Vasudev Krishna form that appeared. Similarly, in Mathura, it was Shankarshan, who is Balaram's first expansion, Mula Shankarshan. He appeared. And he was the one that was transferred into the womb of Rohini, and he merges into Balaram. Just as Vasudev Krishna merges into Shamsundar Krishna. So exactly the same way. So therefore Balaram is actually Rohini Nandan. And we know that Balaram, he expands in the Chaturvuya expansion, then again the Mula Shankarshan expands again into 4 Chaturvuya, Mahashankarshan. That Mahashankarshan expands as Karadaksai Vishnu. Karadaksai Vishnu expands as Garbhadaksai Vishnu, and then Shiradaksai Vishnu, and then ultimately Shesha. So they all expand for service. So Balaram also, wherever Krishna is going to appear, he appears first to prepare the arrangements, makes all the arrangements for Krishna to appear. So he prepares the womb, the arrangements, the environment for his brother to appear. It's described when Balaram appeared, he was the most beautiful child, but he was mute and inactive. Even though he was so beautiful, he was practically inactive. And it is described that only when Mother Yashoda came to see the child, she picked up Balaram and she held Balaram to her heart. And in Mother Yashoda's heart resides Krishna. So immediately Balaram started to become active. As soon as she puts him down, he will become inactive. So Balaram stayed like that until Krishna's appearance. We know even Srimati Radhavani, she appeared and she didn't want to see anyone or hear anything until Krishna appeared. So you can see how they're teaching us to be faithful. We should be loyal and faithful servants of Krishna. And nobody should replace their position. So Lord Balaram, he's a personification of constant servitude. That means that Balaram, he takes the opportunity to serve Krishna in every aspect. So, here we find Balaram taking the opportunity to serve Krishna by expanding in the form of the spiritual world and the material creation. So Balaram is basically the spiritual world and Balaram is the material creation. It's a manifestation of Balaram's potency. Then Balaram also serves Krishna in Shantaras, neutrality. So all the paraphernalia, Krishna's sandals, Krishna's flute, Krishna's jewelry, Krishna's crown, Krishna's tables, Krishna's bed, everything that's used for Krishna is actually an expansion of Balaram. That Balaram expands in these paraphernalias to serve Krishna. Then Balaram also takes the opportunity to serve Krishna in Dasya. So you'll find that even though Balaram is the elder brother in Vatsalya, but he takes the position of a servant and he serves Krishna. So sometimes Krishna will massage Balaram's feet, and here we will find that Balaram massaged Krishna's feet because he's taking the position of a servant, Dasya. Then, as a elder brother and a friend, Sakya, Krishna, so this is actually Sakya, friendship. Balaram also, even though he's superior, but he also serves. So he also serves Krishna in friendship. And as a friend, Balaram would be with Krishna, he would joke with Krishna, he would fight with Krishna, he would even mock Krishna. One time, Balaram, he called Krishna and he said, Krishna, I have a question. How come I'm white I'm fair, Nandamaj is fair, and Mother Yashoda is fair, and you black. So Krishna was thinking, I don't know. And Balaram said, I'll tell you, it's a secret. Because you're not their child. You were purchased in a market. You were gotten from somewhere. And Krishna would feel so bad when he hears that. He would run to Mother Yashoda, crying. This is what Balaram said. And this would go like that. So one day Mother Yashoda, Krishna went to Mother Yashoda and he said, I had enough of Balaram's teasing. I want to get married. So Mother Yashoda said, married? To who? And why? So Krishna said, since marriage is actually a bond between two families. So since our family is very dear to Vrishabhanu's family, Nandamaj is very dear to King Vrishabhanu. They're close friends. You, mother, are very close to Mother Kirtidar. So then I should become very close to Radhavani. So I want to get married to Radhavani. And then Mother Yashoda said, and why? And Krishna said, so that when Balaram teases me again that I'm dark, I'll say, it's okay, I'm dark. My wife, she's golden, she's fair, so it's okay. And guess what? I got a wife, you don't. So in this way, he would, get back at Balaram. So they would share pastimes like that as friends. Then, as Vatsalya, as a parent, as an elderly personality, as elder brother, then also Balaram would serve Krishna, take care of him. So it's described in many pastimes, Balaram would be like that, in that mood of Vatsalya, as the elder brother, protector. So for example, when they go to the forest, it's described that Balaram, he would walk faster than Krishna. So he would walk ahead, and whenever he would take a detour or show the route, he would take his plow and he would make roots. Make like a sign on the ground, so that Krishna is talking, walking, taking his own time, but then he would come and say, oh, Balaram is in this direction, here's the mark, and he would follow. So Balaram would take care of him like that in the forest. It's described that Balaram, we know that Krishna one day ate dirt. And immediately Balaram, at that time, Balaram was serving in Vatsalya as elder brother. So naturally, if a younger brother eats sand, the elder brother will be concerned that this is very bad for your health. You shouldn't eat. So immediately goes to tell Mother Yashoda that, Maya, just see, please, Krishna, he's eating dirt. So it's not like Balaram wanted to, find a fault with Krishna, but he was taking care. So Mother Yashoda comes to Krishna and says, Krishna, you ate dirt? And Krishna says, no. I didn't eat any dirt. Balaram is lying. And Krishna said, Mother Yashoda said, no, Balaram will not lie. He's an elder brother. He's protecting you. So why are you eating dirt? And Krishna says, see, Mother Yashoda, see, Maya, you told me that there are 7 mothers. Just like you, my mother. You also said Mother Bhumi is mother. Cow is mother. And I drink your milk. I drink cow's milk. So I also have to drink Mother Earth's milk. So her milk is the same. So therefore I was honoring that. And Mother Yashoda said, no, that's bad for you. You can't take that. That's very bad for you. So then Krishna thought of another point. He says, okay, but Mother Yashoda, Maya, just see that I'm a liar. I speak so many lies. And because I speak so many lies, Father said that whenever we lie, we must rinse our mouth with water. See? So, because even water will not cleanse all the lies that I have spoken, I thought that earth would be best to wash my mouth. So therefore I was washing my mouth with earth. And Mother Yashoda said, no, no, no. That's also not good. So like that, Krishna would give so many arguments. But the Acharyas described that one reason why Krishna actually ate dirt was because the earth of Vrindavan is not different from Balaram. It's Balaram's body. And the dust of Vrindavan is touching Balaram's body. So he was honoring and he wanted to taste the dust from Balaram. Therefore, he was eating dirt. And then Balaram also, he takes the opportunity to serve Krishna in Madhurya. So as Ananga Manjari, Radhavani's sister, he appears and he serves Krishna in Madhurya Ras, Radha and Krishna as a Manjari. So in this way we find Lord Balaram, he takes the opportunity to serve Krishna in every way. That's how greedy he is for service. It's described another name for Ananta Shesh. Ananta Shesh means unlimited. But another name for Ananta Shesh in mathematics, Ananta means remainder. So you get a coefficient, you get remainder. So Ananta means remainder. That means Lord Balaram, who expands as Ananta, he serves Krishna in every way, and if there's any remainder, any little remaining service, he'll make sure he'll take that as well as Ananta. So he would not want to leave any service left for Krishna. This is Balaram. We heard the children narrating the story of Revati and Varuni. Well, they didn't speak about Varuni, but they spoke about Revati, who was born in Satya Yuga. So we won't go into the pastime. You heard she was very tall, and then they were chosen. They chose Balaram, so she came, and Balaram, naturally he was in Dwapara Yuga, and Revati was high up in the sky, right? So you can imagine right there. So Balaram decided, okay, he took his plow and he hooked Revati's shoulders right on top, and then brought it down to size. And it's described that he brought it down to size so that her head was ear level of his ears. Scripture says that's the appropriate height for a wife. That means good wife. So you can go home and just check. So that was how Balaram brought it to its transcendental, appropriate height. So they also mention about these demons, and we won't go into the narration of these demons. But Balaram is a personification of service attitude, of constant servitude. And the demons he kills are very important demons that we have to remove from our own heart. Sri Rupa Goswami describes pure devotional service as Anyabilasita Sunyam Jnana Karmana Vartam Anukulyena Krishna Anushilnam Bhaktir Uttama. That pure devotional service is anuku, favorable and pleasing to Krishna. So what makes one's service unfavorable or not pleasing to Krishna is actually these demons that Balaram specifically kills. And we need strength from Balaram. We need to pray to Balaram. If we hear these pastimes that Balaram himself kills, they will automatically remove. Just by hearing that pastime, it will remove these different anarthas represented by these demons. Right? So, which is this demon that Balaram kills? Denakasur. Now, Denakasur, he represents ignorance. The first obstacle. Because of ignorance, we think we the Supreme Lord, we the Masters. Therefore, we don't serve. So, we need to remove this ignorance. This demon? No. Pralambasura. And Pralamba represents lust and hypocrisy. He came disguised. So he was hypocritical. He didn't come face to face. Right? And he's a personification of lust. So this obstacle of lust and hypocrisy has to be removed for our service to be pleasing and favorable to Krishna. This demon, they didn't speak about this demon. Let's see if you can recall it. This demon. Yes, Balava, the demon Balava. So Balava, he was killed by Balarama, and he represents offenses and anger, which we have to remove. And then this demon, to read it out, the gorilla, he represents greed and material desires, which we need to remove. And then Romahasana Sutta, he represents pride. So we have to understand that pride, ignorance, lust, hypocrisy, offenses, anger, greed, material desires, these qualities are not conducive for our devotional service. They are not pleasing to Krishna. They really are detrimental to our service. Balaram, whenever he appears, it is described that because he's elder brother, whenever there's a demon, he'll want to go and protect Krishna. And Krishna won't have the opportunity to then, kill the demon. So very often you will find that many demons that Krishna kills those demons when Balaram is not there. Why? Because most of the time they're celebrating Balaram's appearance day. So when they're celebrating Balaram's appearance day, then Mother Yashoda will keep, Mother Rohini and Mother Yashoda will keep Balaram at home. And then Krishna and the coward boys, they will go off. And then when the demon comes, now Krishna, he can show his powers and kill the different demons. But there's another thing that also, another pastime that also happens. Generally, we find that where Balaram is, Srimati Radharani will not come there. And where Srimati Radharani is, Balaram will not go and interfere there. So sometimes, when Balaram is celebrating his birthday and is at home, one such day, Krishna went with his friends, and they were there in the forest. And the friends, Sridham, Subal, Stalker Krishna, they told Krishna, today we're going to beat you in wrestling. Because normally Balaram is there and Balaram beats you. But today we're going to beat you. Because Balaram is at home. And Krishna says, no, you can't beat me. So they said, okay, challenge. So they start. Balaram starts with Sridham. And they have a wrestling match. And first round, Krishna hits Sridham, puts him to the ground. And wins round 1. Then they fight. Sridham gets Krishna onto the ground, beats him. Second round, Sridham wins. Third round, they fight. Krishna wins Sridham and he's to the ground. In this way, Krishna starts to fight all the cowboys one by one. And Krishna puts them all to the ground. Then after a while, they were so exhausted and they were taking turns. So sometimes the cowboys would put Krishna on the ground. Sometimes Krishna put them to the ground. Then after a while, Krishna said, okay, I think we should take some rest. And then continue. So the cowboy says, okay. So they all take rest. They all lie down and they're all taking rest. Krishna, he also decides to take rest. So he starts to lie down. And then with one eye, he starts to look. And he's looking and he's waiting. And then he notices, yes, that's who I was looking for. Vrinda Devi comes with Lalita, Vishaka, the coward girls, the damsels of Vrindavan, they come in. So Krishna immediately wakes up, he runs to them, and he says, Vrinda Devi, just see, today I have shown that I'm the best of all wrestlers. See, I put all these people to the ground, because they're all fast asleep. I beat all of them. And Vrinda Devi says, no, I don't believe you. Says, no, yes, see, I won all of them. So Krishna started to boast. And Vrinda Devi, Lalita, Vishaka didn't like that. So they ran back to Srimati Radhavani. And they told Srimati Radhavani, you know your friend, Krishna, he was boastful. We didn't like it. I think we need to teach him a lesson. He was thinking, he was telling us he won all the coward, he won everyone in wrestling. So then Radhavani said, and what about Balaram? Wasn't Balaram there? He says, no, Balaram wasn't there. So then Vrinda Devi, she said, I've got a plan. Radhavani, I've got a plan. We're going to dress you up as Balaram. And you're going to go fight with Krishna and teach him a lesson. And Srimati Radharani said, no, I can't do that. He said, no, you have to do that. Don't worry, we'll be there. So then they dressed Srimati Radhavani as Balaram. And you couldn't make it, they were expert in all the arts, in costume, design, makeup, everything. So they dressed Srimati Radhavani as Balaram, and then they come. So then they come to Krishna and say, oh Krishna. And Krishna notices, oh, there's Balaram. Dauji is here. And Dauji says, okay, so Krishna, you won everyone? Okay, let's fight. Let's see. So Krishna said, no problem, Dauji, let's fight. So you know how they, the wrestlers, right? They make like that. So Krishna also, he makes that. So he hits his hand like that. Then Krishna looks at Balaram's hands. And he says, a little thin. Maybe because it was his birthday, he's fasting, didn't have enough prasad, his hands are a little thin. But anyway, okay, so then they start fighting. They start wrestling. And they start wrestling. Krishna gets Srimati Radhavani onto the ground. Bang! And Srimati Radharani, on the ground, ouch. And in the bush, nearby, all the coward girls, they were there. And they're motivating Srimati Radhavani. Gauri, 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 Gauri. Telling her, encouraging her. One of Srimati Radhavani's name is Gauri. Golden means like Gaura. Gauri, Gauri. Gauri, Gauri, Gauri. So she's getting some strength. On the other side, the coward boys, they sing, Dauji, 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 Dauji. Get up, Dauji, Dauji. So this side is Gauri, Gauri, Dauji, Dauji, Gauri, Gauri, Dauji, Gauri, Dauji. So this is how one of the names of Balaram is Gauri Dauji. So Radhavani gets some strength, gets some encouragement, so she gets up. They start wrestling. This time she takes Krishna. And with all his strength, she hits Krishna to the ground. Krishna fell so hard, he practically fell unconscious. And everybody started glorifying Srimati Radhavani, that she was, or in this case Dauji, that she was victorious. Dauji was victorious. In the meantime, Srimati Radhavani, disguised as Dauji, looked at Balaram, looked at Krishna and felt a little compassionate. Shame. He was perspiring. He was so exhausted. He's in pain. So she took a chadar and she went and she tried to wipe Krishna's perspiration. As soon as she touched Krishna, Krishna was in ecstasy because he could understand, oh, this is not Dauji. This is actually Srimati Radhavani. And he was very happy that Srimati Radhavani won, beat him. So this is how different pastimes are there when Balaram is not present. Lord Balaram's beauty. Lord Balaram's beauty is enhanced by the earrings touching his cheeks. Balaram's face is decorated with tilak made of musk. And Balaram's broad chest is ornamented with a garland of kunja, small red, black and white berries native to Vrindavan. Shri Balaram's complexion is as white as an autumn cloud. And he wears blue garments. Balaram's voice is very grave, and his arms are very long, touching his thighs. So Balaram comes to this world to facilitate and serve Krishna. His heart and soul is service to Krishna. And he is Adi Guru. So he's teaching us that our heart and soul should be also to serve Krishna. And there is power in that service. There is purification in that service. And there is pleasure in that service. So one time Srila Prabhupada, he was circumambulating Krishna Balaram temple. And as he was going around, he came in the front, and Srila Prabhupada made the statement that simply by circumambulating Krishna and Balaram in this way, no more traversing up and down in the material universe. So by serving Krishna and Balaram, this is our saving grace. This rescues us from this material existence. And by serving the devotees of the Lord, by serving those who are dear to Balaram, just like the representative of Balaram, serving Srila Prabhupada, this also attracts the mercy of, or attracts the attention of Balaram, and we get Balaram's mercy. In this regard, there's a beautiful pastime of Prityaputra Swami. He was a French sannyasi, and he helped Srila Prabhupada in the early days. He sacrificed so much of his energy to establish the preaching in France. And he had a wonderful relation with Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada loved his service attitude. There was never a time when he refused service. So he really endeared himself to Srila Prabhupada through his service. And when Srila Prabhupada in 1977 was leaving this world, this sannyasi was heartbroken because his life and soul was Srila Prabhupada. So when Srila Prabhupada left, a few years after Srila Prabhupada left, he could not tolerate the separation. So slowly he also fell away. And then he started breaking the principles again and fell back into Maya. He then contracted AIDS. And he was embarrassed. He didn't want to, face the devotees. So there he was in hospital, practically alone. And in hospital, his body was being eaten by the AIDS, and he fell into a coma. So he was unconscious in a coma. For a few days he was like that, and the doctors, they gathered around him to discuss what they should do. Because he's in a coma, and they know that he can't survive. So they were discussing how many days he's got to live and what they should do. At that point, all of a sudden, this sannyasi, disciple of Srila Prabhupada, immediately opened his eyes. He sat up straight, looked right into the hospital room door, towards the door, and he said, "Oh, Srila Prabhupada, you have come," and then fell back and left this world. So we can see here in this pastime how Srila Prabhupada came to rescue his disciple, even though he left, but because of his service, because of the service that he had rendered, Srila Prabhupada never forgot that service. Similarly, Krishna and Balaram, they have a very strong bond because of service. And we also want to pray to Balaram today, that please, intensify, give me a mercy so that we can intensify that service attitude, that constant service that you are serving Krishna in every way. At least let me be of some service to your master or your friend, Krishna. And saying, we know that Lord Nityananda is Balaram and Lord Chaitanya is Krishna. So we can also pray to Lord Nityananda for the mercy that they can shower and that we can eternally be situated in their service. Shri Shri Krishna Balaram Ki Jai. Okay, we'll just are there any questions that anyone has? All right. Why does Balaram have a plow? Balaram has a plow. Last year I gave a talk from plow to flute. So everybody wants to hear Krishna's flute. They want to enjoy. So that's the principle of the flute. But the plow is for cultivation. Anukulyana Krishna Anushilanam. Anushilanam, in this verse of Srila Rupa Goswami, defining Uttama Bhakti, Anushilanam means cultivation. So bhakti or service, devotional service, has to be cultivated. That means plow. You need the plow to cultivate the field. to remove the weeds. Then you sow the seeds, or the spiritual master sows the seeds of devotion, and then you need to water it, protect the plant. So therefore, this plow that Balaram holds represents cultivation of bhakti. He also uses the plow to kill the demons, to protect his brother. But mainly for a sadhaka, that plow is representing the cultivation of our devotional kripa. Hare Krishna Prabhu, could you please explain why there are not many bhajans which devotees can sing or glorify Lord Balaram as there would be on other festivals? So remember Balaram, there may be many songs that are there glorifying the different incarnations, but Balaram appears in this world not to glorify himself. Balaram appears to glorify Krishna. And all the representatives of Krishna, they also appear in this world. Balaram is Adi Guru, and all the spiritual masters coming in disciplic succession, they representing Balaram. So therefore, they're also glorifying Krishna. And that is why there are more songs glorifying Krishna than Balaram himself. We find even Lord Nityananda. See, Lord Chaitanya told Lord Nityananda that you please go and tell everyone to chant Krishna's names. Lord Nityananda goes door to door. He doesn't tell people to chant his names. He tells everyone, you please chant the names of Gaura, Lord Chaitanya. And we find even Lord Nityananda. It says, anyone who chants the names of Gaura, he will purchase me, and I will eternally become his servant. So Lord Nityananda is willing to become an eternal servant of anyone who chants the names of his master. This is how much he appreciates anyone who's glorifying Lord Chaitanya or glorifying Krishna. So this is the reason they want to emphasize Krishna's glories. So that is why that is there. And there's no doubt there's stotras glorifying Lord Balaram, 1,000 names of Lord Balaram. So there are songs and prayers glorifying Lord Balaram. There are many servants of Balaram in the spiritual world. So those servants of Lord Balaram, they compose songs and verses glorifying Balaram. Okay, so that's they there. But predominantly for a sadhaka, Krishna, just like Srila Prabhupada, he didn't go to the West to establish the Supreme Personality of Godhead as anyone but Krishna. Because we need to become convinced that Krishna is Stu Bhagavan Swayam. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and we are all his eternal servants. Shri Shri Krishna Balaram ki jai, Nitai Gopramanande.